Hi everyone, my name is James Feeney. Welcome to or back to my channel. Today I'm here with a recap of my November. I really enjoy, as always, watching others' recaps and favorites videos to see where we are all at as a community. I also enjoy reflecting on my own recap slash favorites type videos in the farther into the future, kind of returning to the older ones to see where I was in my practice and my interests and what went on in my life during that time. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into it. As always, if you've watched these before, I will share decks of any sort first, so tarot and oracle, and speak to those in terms of my month. Then I move on to books, followed by more miscellaneous items, potentially magical items or metaphysical ephemera and such. And then I finally wrap it up with more experiential things that I can't necessarily show to you as a viewer on the camera. There's nothing really physically to show for it. So those are the things I save for the end. So if you are interested in jumping around, just so you know the order, that's how it goes. Not too many decks to speak of, but I would say that the amount and the thought processes going on in terms of the decks is where the value lies. So one that I'll get out of the way right away, and this has been a favorite for quite some time, and it always probably will be, some version of the Thoth. For this month, I chose my trimmed version, mostly because it's the one I was using the most for client readings and for myself, and it's one that I'm always tossing in my bag that's very portable, that I don't have to be, or I don't feel like I have to be very careful with. And so this one I think got the most use of all my Thoth decks this month, and as always enjoyed it, and I always enjoy giving readings to others with this deck, and also for myself, and my Thoth studies are always ongoing, so it's more than just a deck used for divination. It's something I try to incorporate into my life and just familiarize myself with it every day. So that is, I think that's the only tarot deck I have here as a favorite or something that I'm really reflecting on right now. But a big exciting thing for me has been that I've gotten into playing card divination in recent weeks and months. So the decks that I have to share, the rest of them are going to be playing card decks actually. So they're all by the same creator, Anna Cortez. You may all be familiar with her or not. She has a website and a YouTube channel, both of which I will link down below, where you can purchase her decks, her writing, her work, along with a bunch of other things that she makes, and I'll speak to that a little bit more in a bit. But the first deck is, I believe this is the Playing Card Oracle by Anna Cortez. Playing Card Oracle's Divination Deck. And it's by Anna Cortez and her father, C.J. Freeman. So her father was the illustrator of both of the decks I'm going to show you. He did the illustrations, and she is primarily the one to, of course, have written the various literature surrounding it. She has a blog, a website. She, I know on her YouTube channel, has a course on playing card divination that's completely free. So I'm going to link everything related to her down below. And her website has a blog as well, and she has 2 books out currently, both of which are going to be featured in this in just a minute. But so this I think is the first deck that was released, and it's now published by US Games, but you can purchase it also on her website. I think I got a copy on Amazon, but they kind of are touch and go with the supply, so I would recommend going to her website if in doubt. And plus, it's always good to support, I think, the artist directly. I actually had a really nice conversation with Anna Cortez this month after, if you follow me on Instagram, I've been posting with these cards a lot, doing daily draws with playing cards, and so I had a really nice conversation with Anna, and she's just such a sweetheart. It's always nice when a creator is a really good person, and personally, I love the way she views divination and cartomancy, and a lot of her literature surrounding it is all more theoretical, and it has more to do with the ideas of divination and cartomancy rather than just sharing sort of like definitions and things like that on various cards. I've kind of come to learn in reading a few books on playing cards that everybody's method is different. It's harder. I would say in tarot, there's more of a system that is adhered to by the general population with correspondences and general meanings, regardless of the system. Whereas with playing cards, There's one, not as much literature out there on it in terms of divination, and then also the opinions, associations, correspondences vary a lot more wildly. There's no consensus opinion on elemental correspondences or numerological associations, things like that. There's a lot that is different, but so far I've really enjoyed Anna Cortez's very specific approach and outlook on playing card divination, but I've read a few other books as well. I think it's nice to do your research and get an idea of where others are coming from, and then to hopefully, for me, land somewhere that feels comfortable and right for me. But so far, Anna Cortez really hits the nail on the head for me. I think she's brilliant, so highly recommend this deck and the other deck that I'm about to show. So she has a second deck. This is the Playing Card Oracles Alchemy Edition, and actually I started with the Alchemy Edition and I saw it originally on Natalia from Ouroboros' channel. She had the larger size, which I also have and will show in just a second. There's two sizes to it, so I acquired the larger size of this one first, then stumbled upon Anna Cortez's work in its entirety, and then set about acquiring those various things. But I've really been enjoying it. The artwork and style is kind of different for the Alchemical Edition, just very different artwork. It's also by her father, C.J. Freeman, and for the most part, all of the cards are depicting the same things. All of that is the same. There are a few deviant areas that it deviates from the original Playing Card Oracle deck, but it's mostly the same thing with just a different artistic style and rendering of the cards. It's really beautiful, actually, and I find that the backs are also really cool. So this is the Alchemical Edition. You can get this, I believe, on Anna Cortez's website as well. Comes in this nice, cute cloth pouch. And so that's that. That's the Alchemy Edition. And then there's the larger size, which comes with a larger pouch. And I believe I didn't see the larger size for sale right now currently on her website, but I know on, I believe the website's Meow Wolf or something like that. It's a strange website name. It sells usually artists' apparel and prints and things like that, but I know that they also sell some of Anna Cortez's work and her decks, so I got the larger one on that website. So if you don't see it on her website, that's a place to look. But the larger one is more of an oracle size. It's actually quite large, larger than tarot size by a significant amount. I think it's really great if you want to appreciate the artwork and you're not looking to do a massive spread. This works perfectly, so I really enjoy this one as well. I think that pretty much wraps up the decks, but playing card divination as a whole has been really wonderful for me this month. Here, I feel better if I'm holding on to something while I speak or show something while I'm speaking. But I find that I like the way a playing card deck is constructed. I like it better actually than Marseille and other tarot systems, even though, of course, this is a fully illustrated playing card deck. I have been working with traditional and lesser illustrated playing card decks as well. I just enjoy the system and the sort of way that it fits really well with the Wheel of the Year, there being 13 cards in any given suit, and there being 52 cards in a traditional deck, Jokers withstanding, because Jokers, I guess, are apparently more modern in their conception, but it feels very practical. It aligns very well with the sorts of tides of the year. And for me, what I've been experiencing myself is that playing card divination for me feels a lot more earthly and practical, and tarot feels a lot more cosmic and abstract and spiritualized. So it's a really nice balance. I think I get a lot of practical answers when I'm consulting playing cards, whereas I get more questions and philosophical reasonings and meanderings when I'm working with tarot. So it's been nice to sort of see this dichotomy between the two. I know I mentioned this deck and playing cards a bit in the recent live I did for my 1K giveaway, where we just kind of sat and chat, and a lot of people in that chat offered really great recommendations on books, music, decks, all sorts of things. So if you haven't seen that yet, I recommend it, especially towards the end. It just becomes more of a thing where we're all sharing our favorite things, and I know that I picked up a lot of recommendations from that. So, but yeah, playing card divination for sure has been major for me this month. Now moving on to the books. So we have 5 books. Now, I'm planning to do a recent reads, and I know that people don't really come to a favorites or reflections or recap video looking for full reviews of books, so there will be a recent reads coming very, very soon. So if you're interested in any of these books or want to hear more about each of them, stay tuned for that. I won't go into too much depth here. So the first one I finished this month was Kabbalah Made Easy, Discover Powerful Tools to Explore Practical Magic in the Tree of Life by David Wells. This is a book that I gave away in my giveaway, and I had a personal copy that I would reference, but I'd never fully read through the book, and I did do that this month. So I think this is a really great primer and a beginner book. It offers exercises, a lot of great things going on in here, and there is a tarot element, so I highly recommend this. I enjoyed it. It wasn't one that took forever to get through, so if you are looking to just dive in, get a little bit of the surface of the Kabbalah, this is a great place to start. Or if you just want to have a basic understanding so that you can incorporate it in tarot or understand what others are talking about when it's referenced, that's a good one. So, as I mentioned, well here, I'll just do a tarot book, this tarot book first. So, The Secrets of the Thoth Tarot, Volume 1, A Magical Atlas of the Universe, Thelema, Aeons and the Major Arcana by Marcus Katz. Now, this is a Thoth book, of course. There are 3 volumes. I have all 3. I haven't read Volume 2 and 3. The largest volume is Volume 1. It's a little over 300 pages. This only covers the Major Arcana, and it was an interesting read. I'm not sure that I would recommend it, especially for beginners, or even if you're just interested in Thoth. If you're you love the occult and the Golden Dawn and Crowley and Lady Frida Harris's sort of ideas and meanderings and thoughts that went into this. This covers a lot of ground in terms of, one, of course, the Major Arcana, but also the background subject matter of things incorporated in the deck. And it's more of an academic text or critical approach and analysis of the Thoth than it is meant to teach. So really enjoyed this. Looking forward to reading volumes 2 and 3, which are on the Minor Arcana and the Courts. And yes, this one actually took me a while to get through. It was a little bit boring, no offense to Marcus Katz, but I know it has that academic approach which can be difficult to get through. So really enjoyed this one as well. Not sure I would 100% recommend it unless you are very interested in the Thoth and have already read a few books, though. You might also get a little bit confused. It may seem overwhelming if you haven't read other things yet. So the 2 books that I mentioned that Anna Cortez has out currently that I read, one is The Playing Card Oracles, a source book for divination by Anna Cortez, illustrations and essays by C.J. Freeman. So this is this book. It's about that big. So it is one that, it's not like a speed read, it's not a quick read. It goes really deeply into Anna Cortez's decks, and it uses their illustrations for examples, and it goes into her style of reading playing cards, her history, and a bunch of other things. I found this just so valuable. There is a section more toward the beginning with actual definitions, but it's very brief. You're meant to kind of draw upon your own experiences and form your own relationships, and the end part of the book was a lot more just theory and practice and technique. And I really enjoy divination and cartomancy related texts that speak to it in a more broad theoretical, philosophical, hypothetical sense. So for anybody interested in that sort of thing, highly, highly recommend this. I was just eager to pick it up every time, was never bored for a second. Her writing style is amazing. And then the other book, and this is actually the first one I read, and this is the book that made me seek out that book. So this is Oracle Alchemy by Anna Cortez, illustrations by C.J. Freeman, her father. And this one uses a lot more of the imagery from the alchemical version, the alchemical deck. And this one is in part a memoir by and of Anna Cortez, and then there is a bit on just divination and cartomancy theory and just speaking to reading in general. So if you are a fellow reader for yourself or others, I think it's nice to hear somebody else's perspectives on their experience as a card reader for clients and for themselves. And her history, of course, is very, very interesting. So this is a shorter read, but I found it very gripping. So I would highly recommend this one as well. And then the final book that I read this month is Cartomancy in Folk Witchcraft, Divination, Magic, and Lore by Roger J. Horn. Yes. So this one takes a more casual, it is a smaller book. It's only a little over 100 pages. You could probably read this in a sitting or two, but This was really great for seeing how you might work with the cards outside of divination for magic and in sorts of really cool techniques. So if you're looking to use playing cards in any way in magical workings, in various just exercises, this is great. There is, of course, definitions and meanings that are of Roger J. Horn's sort of mind, and this is what was starting to make me realize that there isn't really a general consensus on suit correspondences and elemental correspondences and numerological card associations and meanings. Everybody's seems to be different. I'm in the process of reading a few other books on playing card divination where their associations and way of reading playing cards is wildly different from this one, just as it is from Anna Cortez's. So it's a little frustrating, but it's also extremely interesting. This takes, of course, a more folk witchcraft approach. I would say it's more so from the lens and paradigm of like Ireland, UK, Celtic paganism in a folky way, but through an American's lens. So taking those sorts of traditions, an American's approach, and then incorporating playing cards. This was just a fun read. It was easy to read, and I really enjoyed it, so that's that. Now, moving on to more magical items and miscellaneous type things. The first thing I'll bring up is actually something I mentioned last month, but I have an update on it. So this is the Black Moon Water. This is a cleansing mist or spray, and I was really loving it last month. I said that I didn't know exactly how to acquire it or who the creator was because it wasn't listed, and I bought it in the shop that I work at and do readings, so I couldn't figure it out, but I inquired because mine was getting really low, and I got the Instagram of the woman who creates these sorts of cleansing waters and mists and sprays, and so I reached out to her. Her name is Jamie, and I will have her Instagram linked below. As far as I could tell, there was no website, and I don't know if she ships them, but I would ask. It can't hurt to ask. And she was just so sweet, such a gem. I purchased a bigger bottle that you can use to refill your smaller one, and now I know there's a little bit more written on this one that it is a sort of Florida water. It can be used in a myriad of ways, and I actually use it a lot of the time as a body mist. It has this sort of earthy, deep scent that's heavy, but also slightly sweet. Something about it, I just can't get enough, so I'm always spraying it around me and on me. And then this is the refill bottle. It has bits of black tourmaline and certain essential oils. I know that she crafts these by hand in small batches on the new moon, and when I purchased this bottle, she actually dropped it off to my house very expediently, and I offered to go pick it up. She is local to me, so she's very close, but she dropped it off for me, which was so sweet. She wrote this very nice handwritten note, and she also gave me a bit of an extra, and I didn't know because on her Instagram, she doesn't post about the products as much. Maybe she has a different Instagram, but this is the one that I found and got in contact with her through. But this is actually a different cleansing mist, but this one's citrine and amethyst cleansing water, harvest moon water. So she had extra of this, and she actually just gave it to me as an add-on just for free, which was so sweet. And this one smells amazing too. It's a completely different scent, and it creates a different feeling. So this one's, it's another one of these small batches, and she just mentioned that she had extra, and she thought she would throw one in, which was so sweet of her. So now I have this one, and I also have the big bottle to refill my spray bottle of the tourmaline one, which has more of an earthy, slightly sweet, heavy scent. And I think that this one's definitely my favorite, although I am really loving this new one. And this is citrine and amethyst, so there are bits of that in there. And this one has more of a crisp and clean scent, so it's a light scent as opposed to a deep and heavy one. I could see myself using this a lot more in the summer and spring, but I will have Jamie's Instagram linked below, so that way anybody who's interested can message her, and if she does ship them, they are very reasonably priced from what I saw, so yeah, can't hurt to ask. Now, I guess the biggest miscellaneous thing that I also have to speak of is something I bought at the shop that I work at. So the shop that I do readings at every Friday is primarily a crystal shop. It's also metaphysical. There's a lot of things going on in there, but I would say it's primary where it started and where it's really based in is crystals. And aside from getting things for the giveaway, I almost have never bought anything there. I have a very decent and sizable crystal collection, and I have kind of just maintained it and kept it as is. I use crystals quite a bit in my own practice, and I'm just content with what I have. However, I saw this one on the Black Friday sale, and like it was the first time I saw it was being there for Black Friday, and there were a few of these. Apparently this is Celestial amethyst, so it's a really big piece, or not really big, but it's a pretty large piece, and I like that it's sort of this narrow and long sort of like wand in a way, the way that you can hold it. I picked it up and I immediately knew I wanted it, and it was the perfect timing, and I kind of rationalized it as it being on sale and an early birthday gift, so I let myself go for it. Well, I went home, thought on it, kind of actually had a dream about it, and then went back and got it the next morning. And part of what drew me to this is actually, if I have a video on astral travel, meditation, and journeying, and I'm trying to see if I brought that journal over. I did. So I have a journal filled with those experiences and my dreams during that time when I was really, really dedicated and invested in my practice and routine with astral travel and journeying. And there was a dream where I was in a cave filled with amethyst, and I knew I had to seek out this sort of dark entity and kill it or get rid of it. And so I was going through this cave, and right as I was about to like figure out everything, I woke up, and then I went to journey or astral travel the next day, and the dream picked up where it left off, and I was able to get to this sort of amethyst cavern. All of the walls, the floor, the ceiling was amethyst, and the person in the center of the cave was actually me. And it didn't really feel like me, but I know in a way, of course, it was me, and I needed to handle them, take care of them, almost kill them. I know that sounds weird, but I met them and I didn't want to hurt them. And then in the sort of dream and travel or journey, they stabbed me in a sort of like non-lethal way. I think it was like my shoulder or my side. And I just remember feeling the pain that they caused, and that they didn't really feel any remorse. And I knew that I had gone there to kind of, like exterminate this version, this person, this aspect of myself. And I actually had an amethyst that was like a sword or a dagger, and I stabbed the version of myself with the piece of amethyst and killed them. And when I saw this, immediately that popped into my head, and that dream slash astral travel has stuck with me the most out of a lot of my other experiences. So it felt like a bit of a synchronicity. This is almost identical to what happened in my dream, and I never really knew that there were pieces of amethyst that looked like this or were sold like this. So it just felt like I kind of had to go for it. And I've never really seen myself as an amethyst person. I tend to go for green and blue, darker stones, more earthy stones. And for some reason, amethyst, I've always passed it over. But I think there is a part of me that resonates and connects really deeply with amethyst and its correspondences. So I have this. I've really been enjoying it for meditation, just holding it. I think the shape of it and the fact that it is more of like a wand type of thing means that it's easier to hold. It feels very satisfying and relaxing and comforting to hold. So I've been using it in meditation and all sorts of things. And of course, I'm trying to get to the heart of why I feel so connected to this, and that sort of amethyst experience where I kind of had to kill a version of myself in an amethyst cave. So I am still thinking I might share some experiences from my journeys and my astral travels. So if you're interested, let me know. That's one I might want to actually reread and share. So yeah, let me know what you think on that. I might very well do that. Now, as far as the month of December goes, for me, it's a very reflective month just because we are about to hit the end of the year and the beginning of a new year. So I use this month to reflect quite a bit. I want to use this month, as far as video content goes, to either return to some of my older videos and add to them, or to reflect in some way. So I have a video on crystals that I like to use, and I use crystals very often in my practice for magic, meditation, everyday uses. I would say I use crystals a lot. So I have a video on that, but I don't think it's done very well. I'm not entirely happy with it. So I'd like to return to that and refilm it and give an update on it. So I'm thinking I will do that. I've never really been a magical practitioner that connected very strongly with herbs and plants and oils. I don't have a green thumb. I'm not actually all that interested in herbs and herbalism. And I know I've gotten a few requests to speak on those, but I don't feel knowledgeable enough to share. I just use very basic standard herbs and some workings, but I'm not so well versed in that, and it's not an area I feel very called to at this current like juncture in my life. But crystals, I've always used crystals. I feel very close and drawn to crystals in my practice, so I would love to film a video where I go over my favorites, how I use them, ways that I think others can go about using them in an everyday and magical and spiritual sense. So I'd like to do that. And I also want to return to a few of the videos that I've done as far as sharing things that are either instructional or meant to be helpful. I think I've covered a lot of different topics, but I would like to add some depth to them. I think if I return to them with more experience or after some time and add something to it, that they'll be more helpful in a way, that I won't just be covering the surface. I'd like to actually follow up and offer something new and more. And yeah, so I would like to return to a few videos, and I have a list of ones that I want to do that with, like my journaling practice, of course, the crystals, and one that I think will be fun and kind of important is I had a video about decks I wanted to work with in 2020, so systems and tarot spiritual type things I really set out and had on my agenda to do in 2020, and that's a video that actually got kind of a lot of views in comparison to my others, so it makes me think others are interested in it. So reflecting on and sort of assessing if I did everything I set out to do in that video and claimed that I wanted to do, and where did I deviate, what things did I do that I couldn't have anticipated at the time, and which ones did I really not at all kind of engage in it. So that's something I want to do. I think December will be a great month to do a bunch of those types of videos in a way, because for me December is a reflective month as the last month of the year, and it's also my birthday month. I'm a Sagittarius, and so for me it makes me reflect on my years. So in many ways for me it's just all around a reflective month, also a busy month. My sister's also a December birthday, my closest friends are December birthdays, and then there's the holidays, so a lot going on. And I will say, I know that I spoke to potentially reeling back to one video a week, and that November would be a time to try that out, and it didn't really end up working out that way. I still uploaded 2 videos a week for pretty much all of November, and I think that's how I like it. I think if I just didn't have anything I wanted to share or talk about or say, I would go to one video, but I, especially this month, think I actually need or feel the need to do 2 videos a week, and that was really what I was doing in November anyway. So maybe I'm not well suited for 1 video a week at this current point. I think 2 is still actually something I really enjoy. And yeah, so I just brought out this journal, but if anybody wants stories from this, let me know, and I would be more than happy to share a few that are a little bit less personal, or maybe I'll take out bits that are a little bit too close to home for me. Now, what else do I have? This Sagittarius candle, this is just like a funny sort of like coincidence or thing. It's hard to see in this lighting actually, but I got this last year right at the beginning of Sagittarius season, burned it, and then stopped burning it after Sagittarius season, completely unintentionally. And then I was going through my sort of half-used candles and saw this, and I've been burning it, trying to get through it, and I think if I don't get through it, that I'll save it again for the next Sagittarius season. So yeah, I just really like it. It's scented. I think I got it at like Bath and Body Works or something. It is lilac, tuberose, jasmine, lily, musk, and wood. I don't know what type of wood, but it does smell really nice. So that's another favorite, along with just these. I like wooden matches more than lighters. It makes me feel more mystical and magical. So I may have shown this, but I really enjoy these black wooden matches. And I think for moon magic and anything I'm doing connected to a lunar cycle, this felt really potent and added to the atmosphere and mood. So I enjoy this. And then this other set of wooden matches that I believe, what is the name of the type of divination? It's a Spanish divination. You may know. Somebody comment below. I do know the name. It's on the tip of my tongue. And there are, of course, correlations to tarot, but it's its own sort of system. I forget the name. For the life of me, I can't remember it. But it has those cards on either side. And then it just has the wooden matches inside. And I've been enjoying this. And I actually use it for some reason to flip over on my altar. So I'll have the sun side up during the day, and when I go to my altar at night or I'm doing a spell at night, I will flip it over to this side and get the matches out from this side. I know it seems silly, but it adds to the mood. And if I'm lighting a candle in the morning to get my day going, or in the middle of the day as I work from home, then I will do it with the sun side up. So just a funny little thing. And then going back to crystals and my use of them, big ones for me this month were just this small piece of amethyst. I've always had this. It's always out and about on a table or something, but I've been throwing it in my pocket. Same for this piece of citrine, which I really love. Citrine's one of my favorites as well. And funny story about this one, I guess this also segues into more experiential reflections of the month, but I have been getting really close with my local community, my spiritual divination tarot reader type community around here. I am really fortunate that there are a lot of metaphysical stores and places and studios where there are classes and things. And so the place that I do readings at, I actually never, for the longest time, I've been there for well over a year, maybe a year and a half now, and never got too close to any of the other workers or readers. I mean, we all have our own day of the week, so it's hard. We wouldn't actually cross in person very likely, but I have been getting closer with those individuals and taking time to hang out with them, get coffee, understand and get to know them. I think the people that I read alongside at the place that I read are very different from me, and we are all very different from each other in our style of reading. I'm the only one that I know of right now at the place I read that does tarot. Another person who I met at the shop does psychic and mediumship type readings, and they don't use cards at all. It's just a face-to-face interaction. And one of my friends who the story of the citrine is connected to, she works at the shop, but she also does Reiki and chakra type tuning and sound related healings and energy balancing. So one day, right after I was done reading, she was working, she offered to do chakra tuning on me. She has a set of tuning forks, and you kind of lay on this table and the frequencies, and she runs them over your body at various points and tries to assess where you're at and hopefully to balance you. And so she did that, and she wrote down areas that seemed like they might need a little bit of help or assistance. I think for me it was the sacral, solar plexus, and throat, which made a lot of sense even bodily for me in terms of my physical health. So she recommended carrying around citrine, and actually on that day I had my piece of citrine in my pocket, and I had for the past few days. So I was like, oh, what a coincidence. So really been enjoying that. And the people I work with, I think I've always gravitated toward the online community because I can find those who are closer in their type of reading and interests to me, but I've shied away from the local community, just not understanding it or knowing how to get involved. But it's been so rewarding, and I feel like I have a sort of place of community. It's really beautiful. None of us are competitive or anything like that. We actually try to learn from each other and offer reading sometimes to each other, and just talking about doing this sort of thing for work. And it almost feels like I have this little network of colleagues in my area that are really friendly and people that I can kind of call upon or reach out to for advice, or that they can reach out to me if they have questions. So I've really been enjoying that, and this citrine, I guess, was a segue into that. I'm trying to think what else. I think that's about it. I've really been enjoying my client readings this past month, switching it up a little bit in terms of less rigid spreads with positions and more so going with intuitive spreads and free-flowing style. I switched over to time-based readings, which has been really great. I tend to go over in the amount of time I offer anybody, so I actually got a silent timer because I feel weird having a phone, especially if it were to go off with a sound. So I got this little old digital silent timer that just blinks when it's done, so that way I can kind of keep on track and not go over with my appointments, and it just works better that way for me. That actually should have been a favorite I brought in, but really been enjoying that. And then announcing and trying to get students for my in-person tarot class that I'm hosting through the store that I work at. They have a studio space down the street, and I'm really looking forward to teaching a class entirely on my own, coming up with the curriculum, organizing it, and kind of just creating something in that way. I really, really enjoy that. And so I've announced it, and I've gotten a few people signed up. I'm hoping to get everybody signed up by the date that I'm hoping to aim for, but that's going to begin with the new year. So it does give me something to look forward to, and hopefully that'll kind of mitigate any of the blues that come after the holiday season for me, at least. And I am planning and I've begun reading a lot more books on playing card divination, so that's really exciting for me as well, and I'm looking forward to reading more on that, incorporating it into my own practice. I've been pulling daily draws with the playing cards for some time, and then hopefully segueing that into actually my readings with others and clients, because I said, for me, playing cards feel a lot more practical, and I think they could be helpful in readings that are geared toward that with clients that have inquiries that are very, very practical. So there is that. I know actually that Anna Cortez has a new book coming up, so stay tuned for that. I'm sure there will be some talk. And I think that that just about covers all of the favorites. I actually am going to film a few more videos today because I have the time, and so if you see me in different attire, filming different videos, don't mind me. I'll probably look exactly the same, but I do change my outfit if I film more than one video in a day, and it doesn't have anything to do with trying to trick anybody into thinking it's a different day. It's more so me getting out of an outfit that I associated with the experience of filming that thing and giving my mind a refresher and a cleanse to then approach a different topic or some different type of subject matter. So I'm going to get into that and really looking forward to December. November was a great month for me, kind of busy actually, but in the best way possible. So let me know what you were all enjoying this past November. And of course, I'm probably going to check out your favorites or recap video if you've got one. Until next time, I hope you are all well. Like and subscribe if this was fun or interesting. And until next time, bye.